how I would use this website to navigate my lessons. So usually every lesson that you're seeing here will last 1 week. So when you go to the main page, there's Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, and the package that I offer follows those units. So looking outward, this one should be looking inward, sorry. And then Unit 3, looking forward, and then bringing it all together, and you'll see similar things here. When you click on Unit 1, it will take you to the lesson. So I've got skills showing off my soft side, decisions, decisions, decisions. And you're going to see, again, I follow the same kind of pattern here. So here we go. I've got skills showing off my soft side, decisions, 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 living the dream. So each one of these activities is 1 week long. So if you click on that, this can be content for 1 week. It doesn't look like a lot, and you can break this up in different ways. So usually what I do is I'll start the unit with the case studies. Every week starts with a case study. So on a Monday, we'd do the case study and I'd read it to the class, and then I'd ask them a question that relates to this. So Sharon is 25, yada, yada, yada. How might Sharon highlight her soft skills and hard skills? Okay. So then as a class, I'd get them to break off into groups and talk about what skills she has and what that might look like on a resume, or whatever little question that they're going to break off and they're going to do. And then I might take something like this. This is like an inquiry model of asking questions. And I might say, in your notebook, create a question that fits each quadrant. And one of the things I didn't do in my class, which I would do next time, is get students to make notes. So if you're projecting this on the screen, you could say, as you can see, the first stage of the inquiry model is to pose real questions. And I might highlight it and say, okay, for your notes, this is what I want you guys to take. And then students can see that right off the board. And then I might come to something like this and say essential skills and work habits. All right. And before I got to that, I would say, okay, guys, let's brainstorm on the board. What are essential skills? What are some work habits? And then I would get students to give me some ideas. We'd brainstorm them. We'd write them on the board, and then I would show this and I'd say, look at all these great ideas that you have. They've correlated with this in some way. And then I might pick the top, get the students to maybe figure out what they think the most important ones are, have this be a ranking activity. Maybe students could turn this into a ranking activity. Again, this could be a day 2 activity, have them rank these. And then I might get them to write in their notes what is the definitions for the top 4 or the top 5. Okay, great, guys. You think reading text is important? Let's write that out. So reading text, the comprehension of text consisting of sentences and paragraphs. And then I would do the same kind of thing for work safety, turn it into like a class discussion or think, pair, share, maybe get them to write what they think definitions of these are. And then again, for day 3, you could look at so this is the assignment. So you're going to see, open the folder on your computer and label portfolio. When I executed this in class, I found that this was way too cumbersome and often didn't always hit what I needed the students to be hitting. And students have a hard time navigating all of this, especially designing your future type student. So what I did was create these little, I created a graphic organizer, which helps students work through it with chunked information and a little bit more information. So I've taken the ideas, I've expanded on them, and I've created them in a chunked way. So for instance, the first one is I've got skills. So the activity that you're going to see here in I got skills correlates with what you see here. So Service Canada, but it's built out way more. Built out to last hopefully a week, depending on your clientele. They can take about a week to go over this. And then, so for example, activity 1 is choose and complete a personal inventory. And then they would complete these little quizzes, and then they'd discover themselves. They'd come up with 3 career suggestions, and then they'd do a reflection and sources you've used, and writing a brief summary. So it gives them a graphic organizer that they can complete in one package. You can post and go, and then you're ready. And this is a little YouTube video where you can watch what I did before class. So this is how I class. This is literally a video of how I explained what the learning was for the week for my e-learning class. So not my live class, but in e-learning. And I just posted this video and told them what to do with the assignment, and off they went. So if you ever taught e-learning, that's a video you could use, the resource, post and go ready. But yeah, that's how I would use the designing your future page. I would just kind of go in and have an idea of what I was going to do. And yeah, bringing it all together, that's a big culminating activity. Looking outward, you're basically looking at all sorts of trends. So all together, what's on the horizon, job trends, private eye, don't hate, don't legislate. And what these activities that are within the shell, so when you click on don't hate, don't legislate, it tells you to look at different examples of legislation that have been violated in the workplace. Where with the activity that I created, I said, look at your workplace and where you want to work and find areas of legislation being broken. So, for instance, if somebody wanted to be a social worker, they started to look at AI and privacy specific to their field. So, all of these little assignments I've also modified so that students are building assignments, and the whole entire course is built around, okay, what does a public sector look like for a teacher, and what does a private sector look like for a teacher if you want to be a teacher. So there's lots of little great tweaks that I've made to kind of make this more accessible to students and changed. But again, you can always ask me if you have any more questions. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to share any more information I can think of.